live.
I'm just a poor boy from Liverpool. I'm just a poor boy from Liverpool.
Hiya everyone, it's Monday. Yes, Monday. It's I'm sorry I'm late. I was talking to Jason. You know, personal things and that. So I'm here anyway, and it's history night. It really is. But I know I'm supposed to do a thing for somebody, and I've completely and utterly forgot what I was going to do. I'm awfully sorry. So we'll just play it by ear, eh? We'll just play it by ear. Let's see what you said. Franco try and put us in. My eyes are getting worse, actually. I was looking at something today and they're just going worse. My little eyes. So if you try and put us in caps, whatever you're saying, it'll be better for me to read out here. I was straining yesterday with some comments on the football, you know, and my eyes were killing me later on, and they've affected me today. Anyway, it's Franco. Evening. Is there any truth that there's a secret tunnel between the Cavern pub and the Cavern club? Yeah. Used to be the bands could drink at the pub and jump in the tunnel to get straighter. Yeah, but we're knocking the original there. But you're right there was a tunnel. Spot on. Unfortunately, when they knocked the cavern down, they put all the bricks and everything there, so the tunnel's only a quarter of the way now with the amount of bricks that are left down there. Sorry about that, you know. But that's right, spot on. A tunnel, secret tunnel. That's why I should have been in a band. I want to join the band. Edward. Hello, Frank and chat. Hello, Edward. Are you mate? My old mate, Steve Mulholland. Hi, Frank. The most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their own understanding of their history. George Orwell. Brilliant comment. Brilliant quote. They do obliterate it. That's why the finest quote about history is, I keep saying it, Leo Tolstoy. History would be a wonderful thing if it was true, because what he's saying is everything, you know, written by the victors. But with the look, I'll give you an example. Can I give you just one example? No, I'll give you two examples, Steve, and everyone else. Everyone else. I used to teach in colleges of a night, you know, and I did it as a favour for somebody. As a favour, because I was already working at the uni. So, will you come in and do a bit of local history? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So I went in, and some people got to know that I was there. And I'm talking about people, in other words, I was seconded with other colleges as well. So I went to them colleges, those colleges. And point is, I was doing the Second World War. I always did the Second World War besides the First World War. And on a number of occasions, not just one occasion, a number of occasions, that's why I don't do the Second World War anymore. And it's because of this. We sent over 300,000 troops to stop the German onslaught, the German march into Europe. We sent them over. And we were heavily defeated. In fact, we were humiliated. It's terrible to say, but we were. And they cornered us. They went out there, get them to Dunkirk on the beach. Let them go. Hitler said, let them go. Let them go. Get them out. And then they got the French and they said, you're fucking going nowhere. You're going there. You're staying in France, you lot. You know, loads of French did escape with the British. But that was a humiliating defeat. It really was. But the spin was that it was a great victory by Churchill and the government. It wasn't propaganda. It was spin. So they said that it was a great victory by getting our troops back, sending little boats over, which there was, don't get me wrong, but they were allowed to. And people, every time I mentioned it in different classes, people had, my dad was there, he wasn't a coward. I never said he was a coward. And this is the way it was. Until I just went, these people are not going to listen. You just think that I'm saying, you know, whatever. So I just, no more. No more. No more Second World War with me. Because they don't like the truth. The second thing is the slave trade. The slave trade. And I've caught old people lots of times. Loads of times with it. Because some people say that slaves landed, and they've got an agenda with that. I don't know why. You know, they're pathetic, actually. And they say, oh, yeah, no, they all landed here. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And they say they were in the Gorry, they were in the Gorry. Yeah, they were in the Gorry, but the Gorry in East Senegal. A big fortress in East Senegal. The slaves were kept. And when sailors used to, you know, sail down there, and I'm talking later, after the slave trade was ended, you know, they used to go, they still went to the Gorry to pick up goods and things. You know, trading with Africa. And they used to get back. And they were told then that this fortress held slaves. So it was Chinese whispers. Oh, yeah, the Gorry, you know, loads of slaves. So as time went on, all the loads of slaves that was held in the Gorry in East Senegal, people were saying, oh, the Gorry, you know, at the Pierette. They were all held there. See what I mean? Oh, it's easy. And I just say to these people, okay, I tell you what. I've done it loads of times and they can't come up with it. I said to some person once, I said, I tell you what, you're coming out with all this garbage. I said, give me a decade, any decade you want, with one ship that came in with slaves, boatloads of slaves, just one. That's all. And you've won your argument. Can't, because there is none. It wouldn't have been economically viable in the first place to pick up slaves at the west coast of Africa, sail over the warm waters of the Atlantic to the likes of Brazil and the Caribbean islands, and later on to the southern states of America. Why stop there? What's the use of stopping if they landed here? So they'd have to sail up the east coast of the American, bypass Brazil, by the way, bypass the Caribbean islands, sail up the eastern seaboard of America, turn. Now you're following the trade winds and the currents, because they're still there today. You're following the trade winds and the currents coming up the eastern seaboard to cross over the freezing ice-filled waters of the North Atlantic to come into here, the country, to come into Liverpool. Think about it. These people, these poor wretched people, are in holes, chained, leaky holes, by the way, where the water's leaking in. Freezing cold if they cross the North Atlantic. Freezing. They had no air conditioning and nothing. It was absolutely freezing in those holes. Freezing. What do you think would have happened to them? Naked as well, by the way. What do you think would have happened to them? Chained. Couldn't move. Hypothetically, they got to Liverpool. Who was going to look after them? The owners from the likes of everywhere, all around the country, had ships here, Wasn't just Liverpool merchants, all over the country. Was they going to look after them? Were they going, hey, lads, here's a blanket and, here's some food for you for the next 5 weeks while the ship is repaired? 6 weeks, could be a couple of months. They're still in the hold. Is anyone having a laugh here? Do you see what I mean? Because they used to just sail from West Africa over to the Caribbean and Brazil, trade. No money was ever spent, by the way. No money crossed hands. It was always goods. That's all. Goods. And so, no slaves ever landed in Liverpool. And they're two of the greatest things when you're talking history. That always comes back. Unfortunately, comes back to me. That's why I don't do any sort of World War II, because there's always someone. And I don't like hurting the feelings. I don't like saying, well, you're wrong. I don't like saying that because their dads were there. See what I mean? So you see, about obliterate their understanding of their history, George Orwell said. And he's so right. Leo Tolstoy. History would be a wonderful thing if it was true. That's why I don't listen to the media, read the media or anything about what's going on, because it's all distorted with propaganda. With propaganda about this Ukraine war. It's all propaganda. What you read and what you see. My barber, John, Jesus, cut me hair. He said, what do you think of that, them Russians, capturing people off the streets? I said, where'd you hear that? He said, well, it was on the news. Fucking hell. Couldn't believe it. So we had to put him right. I said, I said, look, they just took in that film from Ukraine and said that the Russians are doing it. I said, if you look closely, I said, where's the badges? The badges? You can't fucking, it's so stupid. And that's the way it is. Look, people might think that I just know about Ukraine today, what's happening today. No, I don't. I've known it for years, what's going on. I've known about Russia, what's going on for many, many years. Going back to Boris Yeltsin, after he took over from Mikhail Gorbachev. And I do know about their history going back to Alexander the Great. And Odessa. I know about them in the First World War and the Second World War. See what I mean? I know about them. And I know about the 2014 coup d'etat to overthrow a legitimate government. So that they provoked the Russians, actually. They provoked the Russians into going into Ukraine. And they thought that they really could take them, and they can't. They cannot take them. You think Russia's just fighting Ukraine, don't you? Ukraine have got no soldiers. That's why they're dragging them off the streets and trying to throw them in. This is why they've asked, European countries, if you have any Ukrainians that fighting age, send them on. And they are. The Union, the EU, European Union, told the countries, the likes of wherever they are, even here, send them over. Send them back. So how are they winning? As the West keeps saying, they're winning. It's crazy. I just know too much, honest. The Woodmaster. History, great stuff. It's all whatever, it's all good, whatever show it is. Hello, Frank and chat. Good evening. The boatman. The boatman. Brilliant. And Steve, good evening, everyone. Evening, Steve. And the Woodmaster again. Good quote, Stephen Mulholland. Look at the Aborigines and the Native Americans put in tin houses on reservations, and all the ancient ways gone, replaced by McDonald's and Afghan. That's you know what? That's a great point. Afghan heroin. The Yanks were there for 20 years. Couldn't defeat the fellas on bikes and sandals. They couldn't defeat them. And they say about the poppy fields. Why didn't they destroy them? Why didn't they destroy the Afghan poppy fields? Because who make a lot of money out of heroin and poppy fields? The CIA and the FBI. When they raid houses and find millions of dollars, that goes all to them. That goes for their upkeep. It's so phony. The Americans are so phony. I'm talking about the American. I'm talking about the White House, from the president and his staff. Those people, those politicians, phony politicians, who are being bought every day. And Barry, even if Frank and super rents, quick shower and then I'm back. See? He even gets a shower to come and listen to us. Whew. And Edward says, the Scouse perm of the 80s. My dad had one. I had one. I had one. Honestly. Tell you when I had one. I had one in 1978. I always remember going down to Wembley with a mad curly hair to watch Liverpool in the European Cup final at Wembley. Well, Terry McDermott goes have one, and Suey, yeah, why not me? I've got a photograph, or that Francine's got it. She says, Dad, why did you get that? I said, because I look lovely. Shut up, Dad. She's got the photograph. I'll have to get her to show you it. And Edward says, there's loads of Scousers with perms now too, is there? Do you think I should get one? Do you think I should have let my hair grow and got a perm instead of the cut? And so scared. Buonasera, Franco, Anko. Not sure I'll be able to go to. Oh no. Oh no, is he broken? Oh jeez. Broken a kneecap. Hospital put a knee brace on, and I'm having to use crutches. Oh, blimey, you're worse than me. Oh, that's horrible, that. Oh, trash. And you were so looking forward to it, wasn't you? As Bella said, next year, we'll all be fit and raring to go. And Phil says, hello, Frank and chat. Hello, Phil. How we're busy. A stream like O2, Frank. Love from the Heathrow Airport area of West London. Say. Are you sour busy? Our busy, not sour busy. I'm sorry to be said. Sorry. Apologise. Lovely little Lindsay. Even if Frank and all. Hey, Lindsay. And Phil says, Frank using my laptop tonight. Sick of making so many spells. Just like errors there. Instead of 2 hours. I know it's. And our busy says history is a lie agreed upon. Yes, of course it is. You've only got to look at the White House today. When they tell a lie, it's agreed. Okay, yeah, we'd say that. Yeah, we say Iran is, horrible people. And they need blowing off the face of the earth. Yeah, we go along with that. That's what it's like. And that's what's happening. And Linda says, my friends went on tour to the old Locarno. She videoed what she was allowed. She told me she'd seen the lion pit below, but it kept filling with water. A secret tunnel underneath was quite famous and would have loved to. I remember, I'm going back years ago, and I was getting a patio done. And I had to get wood. And I knew this fella. He said, yeah, come up to our place, get you all the wood. He said, no problem, at a special price. And I went, oh, great. Went up, and it was the bottom of London Road. No, West Derby Road. It was the bottom of there. And there was a big woods yard now. There's new buildings there now. And I went in, and he said, the lads who knew me said, Frank, I've got to show you this. I made up you came. He said, yeah, I'll have a look at this. So I said, yeah, okay. So anyway, I went into this pit. And what it was a bear pit. Going back to the 1700s, where bears used to fight. And it was on this rickety thing. It was like a little arena. It was weird. Weird. And, if I would have had a camera or something with me, I would have taken photographs. But I didn't. Like, there's no phones that you could use then, when I went there. Shame, isn't it? Shame that I never took at this bear pit. Still in great nick, except for the wooden stairs that were all rickety, where people used to stand around and watch bears fight. Great thing, that, Linda. And now we're busy, so is it true that the Great Wall of China has the turrets facing inwards to stop people getting out? But we're told the turrets facing outwards defend the wall. They do. They do. We used to, around Liverpool, when I was doing the Civil War, because we took the castle back off the Royalists. They took it in 1644, the Royalists, June 1644. They took it off the parliamentarians. I'm sorry that it's just that I have had to take some things, because I've got to take these things now, leading up for me operation next week. Be all over this time next week, by the way. So I've got to take this stuff. And it's affecting me throat. So anyway, that's by the by. So by the November of 1644, this is less than 6 months that the Royalists held the castle. This thing behind me. The parliamentarians, they took it, as I said, in November, and they ran up and they smashed up the royal seal, King John. And because that they took the castle, Cromwell, he gave a great prize to the citizens of Liverpool for defeating them and taking the castle back. Because from Everton, I wonder if I've got a picture of it. Let's see, people. No. Let's see if I can get it. I don't think it'll be on this picture. I don't think it'll be on here. But let me show you something. I'm going to take you off there. Excuse me a minute. Oh, fuck off. I don't believe this. Right, let me show you something on here. If I can. There it is. Jason. Looks it. Like this, Lisa. It's football. Like it's made up with that. Hang on, Lynn. I just want to explain this. Like this picture where they're overlooking the castle, right? They're overlooking the castle there. And for I'm not saying a prize or anything, for the great victory, the citizens of Liverpool were awarded all the trees that went, I wish I could show you, that went from where they are now right down towards the castle and the little town. So they chopped them all down. Now, if Jason can get me the fortress that was built, there was a fortress built around the town, just in case those parliamentarians came back. There was a fortress built with the wood, the trees taken down. And he says, you'll be all right now, you'll be in good stead. And it was a fortress. Let's see if we've got it. Oh, yeah, no. That's a shame, Let's see. Yeah, there's the fortress. Do you see those lines? Do you see the lines there? Well, that's all the wood. That was a fortress. They did it with, the wood that was chopped down from the Everton area. And it just surrounds the small town of us. You can see the letter H there. You can see the pool coming in. That ran along, I'll tell you where it ran along, from Paradise Street right along Whitechapel to the Mersey Tunnel. That's where that went. And that bigger one, I wish I could point it out, the bigger fortress is protecting the town. Where the letter H is to the left, that was a massive fortress so that they couldn't get through there. Because when they attacked in 1644, May 1644, it was a pincer attack. A pincer, they came and they came from the middle and the two sides. Pincer attack. That was Prince Rupert, though. How about that then? Hey? Let's get back to this. And Lindsay says, everyone use caps. To help Frankie, please. Thank you. And Edward says, great films on Kirk. The music makes it. I've never seen it, I watched a bit of it, but not all of it, unfortunately. Cedric Lopez, big up legends. Chat. Thoughts on Brad not being sober anymore and whether it's my fault. Because he says, when he found out about me and Angelina, he said, I can't take this anymore. Cedric. Yeah, he's gone back on the booze, hasn't he? But I think it'll be I think it would be well supervised, if you know what I mean. I said it. I think the Woodmaster wants people to go a bucket of water to get us both floating down in Northampton. Our busy said, "Are you a flat earther, Frankie?" And believe we are inside of an ice wall with other lands on the other side, or believe it's a global. But we never fly from the north to the south, only east to west, and vice versa. I'm not a flat earther. But I'll tell you, there was a fella by the name of two fellas, Alcock and Brown, and an American named Baird, not together. And Baird went into Arctic, the Arctic, not the. Anyway, he went there. No, that was Perry, not Perry. The American went to the. He went into the South Pole. Was Baird, Admiral Baird. And he kept it a secret for many, many years what he'd seen down there, besides the penguins. And what he'd seen was trees, grass, and things like that. That's what he'd seen. He said he'd seen. And he made all the soldiers to sign these documents. And if they came out and said it, they'd go to jail for a very, very long time. It was a disclosure, in other words, that they were signing. Until one fella did. And it was a few years ago. And what he said, he was one of the soldiers, or one of the sailors, Marine he was. And he said, I couldn't believe it. He said, I couldn't believe it, what he'd seen. And there's only what Baird said. But Baird never disclosed what he'd seen. It was this fella, like a whistleblower, but he was dying anyway, so no one could do anything to him. How about that? So yeah, Alcock and Brown I mentioned as well. They flew over. Alcock and Brown were the first couple fellas to fly over the Atlantic and to fly over the North Pole. And their last message was they were going towards they said a black hole in the Arctic. So when he went into it, they said more or less what Baird said, but they were relaying it over the phone, not the phone, the radio, on the plane, looking at streams and grass and trees, and how can you find that in the freezing temperatures of the North Pole? Then you have the conspiracy theorists saying, well, if that's happened and that's opened, that's where UFOs are coming from then. That's what they said. So everyone jumps on everything. Calvin, Mabai Fabrice Hawkins. Mabai Fabrice Hawkins. A new footballer come into it. Knew it. I don't know, Calvin. I don't look at things, you're getting these people who are saying all these different things, and he's coming, and he's been coming for weeks and weeks. So it's not football tonight, unfortunately. And Mr. B, good evening. John Franco, good evening, Mr. B. I'll let you let on to one another. And the word says, the records say the Russians lost 27 million to win World War II. I thought he was going to say, I thought he was going to say two. I thought it was 2 million, in Ukraine, which they have been saying. 27 million, World War II. And this is the tanks ever since. There is loco. 27 million they lost. And you've got to understand as well, 2/3. This is what other people didn't like when I was doing the Second World War. 2/3 of the might of the German army were in the east fighting the Russians or the Soviets. And only 1/3 was fighting the Allies, all the Allies. Yet it was the Russians who were winning, fighting 2/3 of the German army. If 2/3 of the German army was fighting the Allies would have had to go back, get on the boats like they did at Dunkirk. Honestly, they would have done. And Mr. B, the rabbi guy, I know, went over to fight Russia for Ukraine. The guy went over to fight Russia for he now regrets it massively. Well, a few British fellas and Americans have been caught, haven't they? Mercenaries. And mercenaries in any war, if you're there in any war and you're a mercenary, you could just be lined up against the wall and shot. It's the law of the land, that, mercenaries. No one likes mercenaries. Mr. B, Robert Gracie, check him out. Is he dead, or, if he's captured, he could be in one. I've seen Russian prisons. Whoa. Do you know that you have to stand for 10 hours a day next to your bed before, and then you're chained, like handcuffed, and you're bent down, fucking big jugs, with the guards are bringing you out to where you walk around, and you'll have something to eat. And then when you get back into the cell, you'll have to stand there for hours upon end before you can lie down and go to sleep. And that's what will be happening to that lot. Do you ever remember that fella from Yorkshire? Remember him? He was on the telly and everything. Or, the Russians looked after me. This is filmed in Russia, you see. They've not half looked after me. They really have. And so they sent him home. They said, fuck off, go back to your country. And he went back again. He went back again. So, these people, I don't know whether they're just arseholes or they're wanting for heroism. Heroism saying, I defeated the Russians, but they're never going to defeat the Russians. Ever. No one is. And Mr. Fitzgibbon says, good evening, Mr. Carlyle. Good evening, Mr. Fitzgibbon. Hiya, George. our busy. If nobody watched the news during the fake pandemic of 1984, people would laugh at people stockpiling toilet roll and wearing surgical masks while walking around in public. Yep, you're right. Excuse me. You're right. I'm going to take a drop of water, people. Bear with me. While I say hello to little Lauren. Hi, Frankie. Hi, Frankie. Where's Max, Lauren? He hasn't run away, has he? Hey, Lauren. Excuse me. Isn't it great when you're you're thirsty and you can take a drink of water? It's a funny machine, the body, isn't it? That's all we are, a machine. Never forget that. And Mr. B, the poppy fields wonder who helps them out, yes. And that's why the Americans left the poppy fields in Afghanistan. That's why they're there. They're still taking it. They're still taking it. You know, they're calling Iran the enemy. They were calling the Taliban the enemy. They were calling that fella, the head chopper, the enemy. Put a $10 million bounty on his head. And they just fucking made him president of Syria. Have you ever heard, Alex? That's America for you. Oh, Myra. Hi, Myra. Hi, Frank and friends. Hi, Myra. Good to see you, sweetheart. And George says, I had a perm. I used to go to the hairdressers with me. Should be ashamed of yourself going with your mum. How old were you then? Mum, take me to... Amara says, I stay in Mulholland. Now, Mr. B, plenty of foreign aid goes to these countries of interest. Drug farms. Yes. Spot on. You wonder why they keep them going, don't you? And we all know why. Now, just not my head now. It's so he hasn't got his perm anymore. Hi all, had a lovely 61st birthday yesterday. Wishing Toscana a speedy recovery, says our friend from Tampa, Dennis Papala. And Dennis, to be honest, he could have said about how busy about the cavern and the tunnel. He would have told him because he plays in both the Cavern pub and the Cavern club every year. Excuse me, comes over from America and plays with him and his band, the Incurables. Mr. B, the busies are at the door. #97. And you'll never walk alone. Thanks for that, mate. Thank you. I don't half appreciate that. I do, Mr. B. And Barry says to Toscana, ears open. You have a quick recovery. Take care. And Toscana too. Oh, it's great, you know. She must be in terrible pain. Thank you, Dennis. First time I've broken a bone. I hope all is good for you. Oh, Jesus. Your kneecap as well. And happy birthday from our Lauren to Dennis. And get well soon, Toscana, little Lauren says. And Max. See the Max there? She hasn't got rid of it. Frank says, Phil, a video today. Russian hackers accessed the Ukraine government records of their losses. 400,000 reported as deserters, yeah? So the regime doesn't have to compensate their families. 2 million dead plus or wounded. Yes, I said that weeks ago. That's thanks, Phil. You know, it's putting the record straight. It's just the propaganda and lies that come out of the West. It's so that the ordinary public like ourselves will go and feel sorry for the likes of the Ukrainians and Zelensky. No, I don't feel sorry for that man. I don't feel sorry for the Azovs, who are all Nazis with swastikas. They've got soldiers, and they've had them for about 2 or 3 years, Azovs, the Russians. And there was about 20 of them lined up. And it's all on record, it's all on, footage. And they said, right, take your shirts off. Every one of them. And they all turned, they said, yeah, turn around. And what you had tattoos, big face of Hitler, and others, the big swastika on the backs. And the West say, oh no, there's no Nazis. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. West. Being proved. Banderites. And Linda says, even the chain was there, she said, still attached to the wall. Go away. Whoa. Is that Lauren? Listen, I'm going to have a cup of tea, people. I hope you don't mind. I'm just having a little break. A video will come on now. Hope you'll enjoy it. And it'll only be 5-7 minutes or something like that. Okay.
In the 19th century, Liverpool had the vision that was the envy of the world. Many firsts were copied, and the overhead railway was no exception. In 1888, an improved plan by businessmen who formed Liverpool Overhead Railway Company had given the go-ahead. Sir Douglas Fox and James Greathead were commissioned to design an elevated railway. After long last, it was finally accepted and the work commenced in 1889. There were problems at first. Fox and Greathead had a dilemma. What was the safest power to use? They considered steam too dangerous because of the many flammable cargoes within the range of the train's sparks that could easily ignite these dangerous cargoes, causing a major catastrophe to shipping and the public. The only other option to pursue in 1891 was the new electric traction. Electricity was carefully chosen because of the enormous advantages: economy, speed, cleanliness and quiet running. Work was completed in January 1893 and finally opened on February the 4th by the Marquess of Salisbury. The public transport section did not have long to wait. It commenced on the 6th of March 1893. The world's first electric railway had automatic electric signals and a line from Herculaneum Dock to Seaford Carriage Shed. It had 11 stations at the beginning: Brocklebank, Canada, Sandon, Clarence, Princes, Pierhead, James Street, Custom House, Wapping, Brunswick and Toxteth. An electric escalator, the first of its kind, the Reno staircase, was installed at Seaford Sands in 1901. It was removed in 1906 because there were too many insurance claims by passengers against the railway. Clothing, especially women's long outfits, were continually getting caught and people falling over themselves as it moved and stopping suddenly. During the 1941 May Blitz, parts of the overhead railway were bombed and quickly repaired. However, the Second World War, through wear and tear and the bombing, deck plate supports for sections of the track were needed to be replaced, but at a costly price of £2 million. The company who ran the railway could not afford the price, and they proceeded to ask the council and the Mersey Docks and Harbour Board for help. They were refused, and with no help forthcoming, the rigorous public protest, the overhead railway, the first of its kind anywhere in the world, closed. The last train ran on December the 30th, 1956. There were many protests and attempts to save the overhead railway. Unfortunately, the protests fell on deaf ears. The only decision made by the people in power was to demolish it, and demolish it they did, leaving an enormous void in Liverpool's great heritage. There are few remnants left of the old overhead railway, and this one at Brunswick Dock. You can see the stairwell leading up to the station itself. And up here we have a tunnel that led to Dingle, because engineers had to bore through sheer sandstone for half a mile of tunnel to get to Dingle in an extraordinary feat of the 19th century. The Liverpool Overhead Railway, which is much missed, is a real Liverpool unequalled.
Here, during the new construction down at the Albert Dock, what you can actually see behind me is a building, the new Park 1 West building, that's shaped like the bow of a ship, and it just coincides with the Albert Dock, which was the very first enclosed dock in the entire world, built in 1846 by Jesse Hartley. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's Grade 1 listed. Why it was cutting edge at the time in 1846, before the Albert Dock was built, there was lots and lots of pilfery going on. Goods were going, businessmen, merchants were getting absolutely fed up. And Jesse Hartley, the docks engineer, came up with a brainchild to build an enclosed dock. And this is what you see today, the very first enclosed dock system in the entire world. And it opened in 1846 by Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert,
hence the name Albert Dock. As you can see, people are just sitting down on a lovely day drinking coffee. But if you go back to the 1850s, the actual coffee beans in big sacks were being unloaded by the dockers. But unfortunately, there's no more dockers now. But they've been replaced by the tourists sitting down drinking the coffee. So therefore, it's come in a big full circle. Besides the coffee, what was coming into Liverpool, into the Albert Dock, was sugar, cotton, exotic fruits, spices from all around the world. And yet, Jesse Hartley said, we cannot afford for these to be pilfered. And he built the dock. And there was only one way in with the ships and one way out. No pilfering. And that's why the rest of the world copied this magnificent building. During the decline of the dock system, this became no exception, the Albert Dock, because it just went and fell into dereliction. And the dock itself, the water side of it, just silted up. And it wasn't until 1983 and the foresight of Michael Heseltine, the Minister of Merseyside then, he foreseen a great future for this dock. And today, modern times, it's become one of Liverpool's jewels in the crown for tourism.
Did you get that then? Much younger Frank then, to be honest. Who could walk? Can't walk now. But anyway, people, I hope you enjoyed those little, breaks of a Monday, a little bit of a history that I did many moons ago. Yeah, the bear. It's incredible, isn't it, Linda? Incredible. And Toscana says to Barry, thank you. I'll know tomorrow if I need a op or let a deal by myself. I hope you don't need the op. They might want to give you a knee thing. I know a few joiners that have had those knees, replacements. Hope you don't get one of them. Lorraine Carney, hiya Frank, is right. Liverpool became one of the wealthiest and most important ports in the world, but how much of that prosperity depended on the transatlantic slave trade? Okay, I'll put this in a nutshell, Lorraine. I'll put it in a nutshell. 76% of trade coming into Liverpool had nothing at all to do during that period with the slave trade. 24% of the trade coming into Liverpool through the slave trade, 24%. So it was really 76% of trade coming in. That's how Liverpool got its wealth. I even go back to when a lad by the name of John Lennon wrote about Liverpool, when he said Liverpool a paved town. And he mentions about Irish people coming in on their boats with the wares, with the likes of linen and glassware. And he said that Manchester men do buy there. And that was in 1537. So have you always been trading? Don't forget, during this period, we were trading with China, India, even America. There were ships going over that had nothing at all to do with the slave trade, bringing their goods back. And they had to exchange money because slaves then were used as a bargaining tool for goods. So no money exchanged. I hope that clears that up, Lorraine. Liverpool was always wealthy. And as I said, 24% of goods coming into Liverpool was the slave trade. 76% wasn't. And don't forget as well, people say, well, what about all the cotton cut? The likes of Egypt, we had loads of Egypt cotton. Loads of it. Not just the States. And Barry to Tascari, good luck tomorrow. Thanks anyway, Lorraine, for your comments. Appreciate it. Try and like and subscribe, please, to get my algorithm up there. Appreciate it. As Barry says, let's like and subscribe, folks, for our John Frankie only. And the woodman says, I live within a mile of Elwy Castle in North Wales, directly in line with Beeston Castle. Yeah, because there's fortresses all around the UK. One of the greatest fortresses was down at, but it was a Roman fortress. Massive castle. Not just the English castles. I was watching a bit of Blackadder before, only a little snippet. So funny. And him and Baldrick Blackadder and Baldrick made a time machine. And he just seen them sitting there like that and he said, listen, we've got to be very careful when we go back in time. We destroyed the dinosaurs and we killed Robin Hood. We killed Robin Hood. So funny. Oh, the time machine. I'll try and get a look on it, honestly, on YouTube. Blackadder and the time machine. So funny. There's more to it than that, obviously. Good evening, Franco. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well, says the lovely Bella. Hiya, Bella. Good evening. Buonasera. Mike Davidson. Hello, Frank. Hello, Mike. Mike says, I'm a flat earther believer. Are you? Are you? Okay. I would prefer you all to flush your bogs all at once so I can get a tidal search, but don't go for the number. You all flush. Excuse me. God, you're all mad. Pack. We've seen you for a while. And Pack says, if the earth is round, Frank, does that mean Australians are walking upside down? Do you know what? I watched Arrival. It's a cracking film with Jeremy Renner and Amy. What's her name? Anyway, Amy. She's a good actress. And they go in to see these aliens. They're going along. You see them coming along. And as you see it cuts then. But they're not walking, as you know, flat. They're on the ceiling. It's weird the way it was, you know the way they done it. Very good, like. If you've never seen. Mike, you missed I can't show it anymore. I put it on twice. And it was a DVD. And I put it on the show a couple of times. Because they asked to see it again. They found it fascinating. This particular DVD. Excuse me. I'm going to sneeze. I hope I'm all right. God, blimey. I don't have to go through it, mate. It's got to be all right for next week. Next Monday. I really need this operation. They won't up, you know, if there's anything wrong. Like a cold or anything. Titanic, I should have seen it, Mike. I can't show it anymore. I got into trouble. They said if you're, you know, it came through my email. I'm always getting pulled. I'm even pulled for our opening, by the way. You know where it comes off. I'm a poor boy from Liverpool. And I know the band well. I know the writer very well. And it's about me. And yet they're saying, oh, you know, copyright. That's why we can't play it. Unfortunately. It's the way it is. Everything is copyrighted. And lovely Linda says, so true. When I go to Australia, we fly west. And Bella says to Toscana, oh, we'll be okay. Yeah, there's a message in Italian for it. And she's saying, don't worry about these chatters. They're all a bunch of hypocrites, and they all think they know everything, and that's what it says. And never mind, you know, take no notice of that big prick who's talking to us, Franco. That's what she's saying. That's what Bella's saying to Toscana in Italian. You know, I'm only messing, don't you? And George says, my granddad was in the 8th Army, Desert Rats, very proud. Yeah, I love the Desert Rats. Brilliant. There's footage of Montgomery. When he took over Auchinleck, he was moving backwards all the time. Drives up in a Jeep, jumps out the Jeep, jumps on the bonnet, and goes like that to the men. Come here, come around here. And they were actually could touch him, the men, because generals didn't want to know the men, they just stood back. But he went to them the Desert Rats. And he said, listen, lads, we're not going back any further. We're pushing forward. One of my great heroes is Montgomery. One of my great military heroes, along with Georgi, excuse me, terrible, Georgi Zhukov, along with Julius Caesar, Admiral Nelson. Great men, and Napoleon Bonaparte, great military leaders, and Monty. Hi, Lauren. Evening, ladies, says lovely little Linda. Oh, not lovely. Lauren too. Bella. $10, Frank. 10. What's that? 10 what? George. Good evening, Frank, says Stephen Cochran, and fellow historians on the chat. Hope everyone is well. Peace out. Hey, Stephen. And Mr. Yep. Rab came back after a few months out in Ukraine. Oh, he came back to the... And he said never again, because he knows the score. Hope he doesn't write for the fucking Sun like that prick who came back. I think he was from Leeds, I'm not quite so sure. Yorkshire lad. And he went back. I hope he's fucking dead. Writing for the fucking Sun. Of all player things, but he hasn't. No one's heard of him since. I didn't mean to say I hope he's dead, but I hope he's in a fucking prison somewhere. Mercenaries can be put up a wall and shot, or a rope around the neck and hanged. Don't know whether you're aware of that. Stephen Cochran say, happy birthday, happy belated birthday, Dennis. Hope you had a good one. Yes, he would have done. Sobering up now. The Woodmaster, if the records say it's 2 million dead, it's probably closer to 4 million. They will label a lot of the dead as deserters. That's a cracker, though. That is a cracker. And I believe that, actually. I really do what you've said. And Toscana says to Bella, I saw an Italian doctor. He said I should go, but I will wait near the time. There's always next year, yes. And we can show Franco around. I want to see it. I'd love that. Just imagine with 2 Italian ladies on my arm. Me and the beautiful 2 Italian Bella and Tosca. Come here. Thank you all for your best wishes. I know you'll appreciate it, because they're all good people on here. Every single one of them. Including Woodmaster's boat. And Phil says to the Woodmaster, 400k reporters as deserters are dead, but they won't pay their families. Well, that's it. You know, it's been going on for years. They won't report. And one fella said, you know, it wasn't a Ukrainian or anything. He just said, where would they bury them? The cemeteries are full up, but they're not showing you pictures of it. Not showing you. And you're right about the compensation. Zelensky is a thief. And the whole of the administration of Ukraine are thieves. Every single one of them. There's the ambassador she's a woman, to America being investigated because she's living well beyond her means with big flashy cars, big holidays, big everything. Wonder how. And the woodmaster said, I used to work for a council and there was a swastika sprayed on a war memorial with flyers on the floor wanting to recruit Eastern Europeans to join the Ukrainian Nazis. That, ladies and gentlemen, says it all. Says it all. These horrible people. And the West say there's no Nazis. That von der Leyen says there's none. Merz says there's none. That horrible Sikorski of Poland, minister, says there's none. And there is. Poland, for example, their prime minister said to Zelensky, listen, we can't go and visit you because you've got Banderite and streets named after Bandera, statues of Bandera. And Bandera killed how many? I think it was 400,000 Poles in the Lviv area. And that's why Putin came out the other week and said, it's a part of Poland, Lviv. And he said, once this war's over, you can take it back if you want. And he said the same to Hungary, and he said the same to Romania. You can take it back, your land. The lads I worked with was Polish, and he told me what the flyer said because he spoke a few languages. There you go. Phil, brilliant. I'll start to visit him. And Barry said, love those films, Frank. Absolutely, but thank you. Thank you so much. A couple of bickies needed for your teeth, Frank, says Steve. God. And Cedric, bless you, Frank. Ah, thank you. That's when I sneezed. And Bella says, Franco's so funny. I'll behave yourself. And Bella says, Franco, be careful that you're not coming down with something when you've got your up, yeah? Take care of yourself more, yeah? I think it's dust in here. It's pretty dusty. Used to be at school, you know, was a little infants and junior with a fella named Miller. What was his name? Was it Tommy? We used to call him Dusty Miller. And another fella became a very good friend of mine as we grew growing up was Nobby Clark. All right, Nobby. When you get older, you go, it's like a fella named Pongo Brazy. Funny. I went out, it was one night, and I went into before I was going into town, I always went into a pub. And all our kids' mates were there. They were not half funny, our kids' mates, younger than me. And this fella came in with his girlfriend, and he was at the other side of the bar. And one of the lads shouted over, "All right, Pongo, lad." And Pongo, we looked over and he wouldn't answer. He said, "Pongo, Pongo." And Pongo had to look up and go. And he went, like that. And he must have said to his girl, "Hang on a minute." And he came around and he said, "Oh, come on, lads, we're not at school anymore. Don't call me Pongo." And they were, all right, Jimmy, lad, no problem. So when he was going, he was going out the way where we're standing. And I'm just standing, I didn't know this Pongo fella. And as he was walking out, he went, "All right, lads, lads." And I see you, Pongo. Every one of them in unison, "See you, Pongo." He should have gone out the other way where he was up. Must have thought, "I'll be all right now." So funny. Mad life, isn't it? Hashtag, don't try. Don't buy. Oh, never. You'll never walk alone. JFT 97. Never buy that, mate. Never. And Steve Lawrence. Breaking news, Liverpool have made a new signing. Edna, the tea lead. I was watching that Divers before. And you see the thumbnail. And he does many of these thumbnails that never fucking come true. And it's really annoying. And he's a grown man. He's just a divvy. And he's like that. The thumbnail is. And it's about Barcola. And he's with David Lynch, a thumbnail of him. But he's just there, stupid face on him. And it's got Barcola. Question mark. He's been doing it for fucking weeks. Did it with Diamandi. Now he's doing it with Barcola. Sad. And Toscana says, I remember when there was a call to change street names in Liverpool, the slave trade was the reason. I think Penny Lane was mentioned. People don't bother with research, but it just read. Yeah, the thing is, you see, with Penny Lane, and that's what I was asked. What about Penny Lane? Hey, what about Penny Lane? They get the slave. I said, are you sure? Are you sure? Penny Lane, slaver. Yeah, it's been proved. So, what was his name? His name wasn't Penny Lane, was it? What was his name? Well, it's just that it's Penny. I said, no, I'll tell you now, Penny Lane. And nothing at all to do with the slave trade, because it wasn't a person. There was a well there. And if you went with a wooden pail, because there was no metal pails then, you can go and get a pail of water for half a penny. Hence, Penny Lane. Oh, are you sure? I said, don't ever fucking ask me if I'm sure. I said, I studied that for 4 fucking solid years about the slave trade. 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. It fucking annoys me when they say, are you sure? Never ever asked me before again. Ever. The bear. The bear. Hi, Frank and chat. I hope everyone is well. Seeing you, my old mate. Thanks for making an appearance. Thank you so much, Scottish. The Scottish bear. Brilliant. And Toscana says to Stephen Coughlin, in the shops, if I see that particular paper, it gets covered up with a magazine that's nearby. The lies they told was unforgivable. Vile piece of rubbish. Thank you, Toscana. And the Woodmaster says, I had a mate called, now don't laugh, he hated it. My name's Gordon, he'd say. Gordon what? He'd say, Gordon Bennett. That's sweet. Gordon Bennett. He must. Oh. Listen, when we were 14, you know, like, you get to know girls, don't you? And we went up to this girl, and her name was Flo Duck. That was her name. Right? Anyway, standing in the hallway, and you know, you're like, as you do when you're 14, like, and a brother come out and went, hey, come on, fuck off. I went, oh, all right. And she said, oh, leave me alone, he's going now. And she said, I'll walk you down the bottom of the street. I said, oh, thanks. So anyway, she came out, walked down the bottom, 14 years of age. I said, he's a big fella, him, isn't he? She said, yeah, Don. Fucking Donald Duck, his name was. Don. She said, oh, yeah, Don. I said, Don. That's genuine. Fucking Donald Duck. What's having a name like him? Miles, isn't it? And lovely Natasha has joined us. Indian curries all round at half time at Liverpool's home games from the new investors. Most probably, Natasha. And Stephen Coughlin, oh, I haven't had a drop of me tea. Maybe have a cup of tea. It's lukewarm though. Lovely. Oh, great cups of tea, aren't they? Especially when they're not like, but that was lukewarm, forgot all about it. But all the excitement, fucking excitement, I don't know, but it was exciting, wasn't it? With Gordon Bennett and Donald Duck. Yeah. Don't know whatever happened to her. She was lovely. You know, you can remember as a 14-year-old. And Stephen says, stay away from people that with colds and coughs and flu symptoms till your operation, as we don't want you getting ill before you thank you. Stay safe, Frank. Peace out. Thank you. Well, I'll be all over this time next week. Be all over. Look at that. Big off Scottish bear. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Love you. Look at that. The bear. Isn't he fucking great? And Natasha. Frank, what do you think of the new investors? Natasha, I'll be talking about them tomorrow night, sweetheart. It's the football show tomorrow. So do you mind if I leave it now until tomorrow on the new investors? And, you know, I said we'll have, you know, a football show just in case we buy anybody. So tomorrow night, do you mind if I talk about them? I was 10 when I had my perm. What did you want a perm for when you were 10? What did you get called? Curly. All right, Curly. Curly Fitz. My old girl went. Just like that. Nothing. Just that look. But we won the European Cup anyway, so that didn't mean. Ignore the last message. Like, hey, Scottish Bear, you okay? Lovely to see you again, says Bella. That's great, though. Love our people letting on to one another, because it really is, especially with the likes of the Bear. And we haven't heard from Redbird. Fuck. Phil Thompson, yeah, Phil Thompson. Suey had a whopper, didn't he? Graham Shearness, Terry McDermott, loads of them had it. Running around with little, curlies. It's terrible, isn't it? What time is it? Oh, yes, so I'm that sorry that, there was hardly any history again tonight. I'm awfully sorry. I know that we weren't aggressive or nothing, It was good, actually. It was good. I was going to show you a map. But it's a waste of time. Showing you a map of our great city, as it was going back in the latter part of the 19th century. The 19th century. I'd love to show more. Let's see if there's anything there. Hang on. I can't see. I've got the camera right in front of something. Let's see. Oh. That's a shame. Fucking yeah, where am I? Oh, I see, yeah, okay now. Should have added it, yeah. Excuse me, people. Here, what's going on then? Yeah, look at that lot, eh? Storming our castle during the Civil War. But we defeated the Royalists. And there's the big group. But I didn't like Cromwell, He was a horrible man. A horrible, horrible man. And one of the most, I don't know. Excuse me, I'm not fucking hell. One of the most diabolical things about Cromwell was that people don't realise what he was like. And I always remember I was down at the Houses of Parliament, and on a crusade, as you do. There's only about 4 of us. But anyway, someone said, there's a meeting, the the Cromwellians Appreciation Society, you know, Cromwell Appreciation. So we went, yeah, let's go around, let's have a look. So we went around, and there was only about 9 of them. I said, is that it, you lot? But they loved Cromwell. And said to us, you know nothing about him. It never went down about Cromwell, by the way. We just got told that they were around there looking at his statue. I said, he should be defaced him. Anyway, when he died, when Cromwell died, he done dastardly things, you know. He done terrible things to the country, especially when he hired Matthew Hopkins to go around and putting the fear of God. That's where the saying comes, fear of God. Put the fear of God into them. And it was that fucking Matthew Hopkins. He said to Cromwell, I'll put the fear of God into them. That's where the saying comes from. So anyway, he went around and he was just killing people. If anyone with a cat accused him of being a witch, they either hanged them or burnt them to a stake. Or, you know, and if there was anyone like saying, she's not a, they got the ducks too. Oh, you must be one. Just seeing it there, I've got to answer this fella. Just bear with me on that. Bear with me, I'll stay on that. And stay Cochran. The current one is scum fact period, as it breeds lies and full of brown stuff, is not fit. Yes. Frank, this history of Liverpool is going to take, I'll see. Most probably. Frank, a fella I know, an expert in martial arts. He became master years ago. His surname was B. Do you ever remember that little series on the set, you know, for kids? Captain Pugwash and Seaman Staines and Master Bates. Do you ever remember that? I haven't said anything wrong. It's mad, isn't it? I don't fucking believe this. I had a natural ginger perm as a kid. I just looked like Davy Fairclough. All the old fellas in the pubs used to buy me a drink when I went in with me dad. My goal at the weekend, super sub. He gave me a lift home one night, you know, from LFC TV. And I gave him a box set of the DVDs for his mum. He said, my mum, you know, thinks you're great. I said, has she got a DVD player? She said, hang on a minute. You know, when he was dropping me off, I said, hang on. Went in, got them. And he said, will you sign them? I said, yeah. But I had to undo them, sign them, you know, for his mum. He said she'd be made up with them. He's very articulate, actually. David Fairclough, lovely fella. Jan Mulby, a lovely fella. I know a few of them, actually. Hey, Frank, did you ever meet Stephen Guy? Yes. Now, I wonder why you asked that. Stephen Guy. When you come down to see me, tell you, can't say it on it. So yes, I did a couple of times. Well, yeah, well he knew me anyway. I knew him. And Phil says, Captain Pugwash used to love that show. No one cottons on to the names, you know. Nobody. Think about a pug wash. And it's not fucking washing a dog either. A little pug. How cool is that? Now there's no more, is there? No. No more comments, so I'll be finishing. Ah, there's the lovely Bella. Buonanotte, Franco, all got to go and have a cup of tea and sleep well. See that? Buonanotte to all. Got to go. Have a cup of tea and sleep well. That lovely lady. That lovely, lovely lady. Oh, you once sent me a message. You know Johan, who comes on now and again here, he's in Russia. And he got on the Siberian Express, right? Fucking hell, he said, I'm sorry for teas. It's not like getting there, on a train here at Lime Street and going down to Houston. Jeez, Siberia. He's been to Moscow, St. Petersburg. He's been everywhere. And he said to me a few weeks ago, I was with in correspondence, and he said, you know what? He said, I put in for a visa to visit China because he's always wanted to visit China. And he's just sent me a message. The Chinese visa got accepted for a month. I'm leaving for Changchun on Sunday. Changchun, China. Do you know where he'll have to go through? Unless he's flying. But if he gets a train, he'll have to get a train in Russia, somewhere in Russia. He's in Vladivostok now. Vladivostok. How historical is that? Bloody. That's who, the Crimean War was fought over, Vladivostok. If you don't know. As Khrushchev said to Macmillan, when was the last time Russia invaded your country? And he said, he said, no, but you invaded our country, didn't you? Khrushchev said that, Nikita Khrushchev. To Harold Macmillan. When was the last time we invaded you? Great. Well, that's great, that, man. Oh, brilliant, mate. And you know, why you can't, get on here? Because of the sanctions on Russia. They sanctioned everything, They're horrible, the EU. They thought they'd break the Russians, never break the Russians. But with sanctions, so backfired. We're worse off. And Pax says, I've met Stephen Guy. He's chairman of the West Derby Society at Lowlands. Yeah, I know. I always remember a few years ago. I wonder why I was up there actually. And there's a law court there. It's one of the oldest in the whole of Lancashire, by the way. In fact, the whole of the bloody country. And I seen Stephen. I said, "Who's your favourite, Stephen?" I said, "Can I go in there?" He said, "Oh." I said, "Can I go in?" Yes or no? And he went, "Yes." I said, "Thank you." And he opens it up. It was great. It was made up with it. And I said, "Is there any chance to film in it?" He said, "Oh, can't." I said, "Why?" I said, "Why?" I just said, "Okay." Didn't want to press him, you know. Stephen, yep. Used to have his, I can't say it on here, honest. I wish I could. And has that something to do with my DVDs, by the way? That's something to do with my DVDs. You see, I've done a thing called Liverpool Unseen. And it's unseen. Everything was unseen by the... you can get it on my YouTube. Unseen. You know, all my DVDs, that is it. Someone fucking put them up, and I'm not making anything. I don't get nothing. I don't know who it is. So you can get onto them and get onto Liverpool Unseen. And if you're a Scouser, you'll be able to see things. I thought it was great, and I used to get into places. I used to say, "Can I film it?" "Yeah, come on, come on." And I'm talking a lot of places that the ordinary public would never have seen. Just have a look. Liverpool Unseen. If you're a Scouser, more interested for you. And Pac says, "The law courts are open to the public during the summer." Oh, go away. It's right, Pac. Take a few fucking photographs. Because when I was in there, it was brilliant. Pac, it was brilliant. Where was I? I went underground, Pac, the city, and what I seen was unbelievable. And I said, "Any chance of it?" He said, "No." "No," he said, "no way." I would have loved to have filmed something. I filmed one thing. One thing I filmed. And we showed a rush to someone. And he said, "No, you can't go anywhere else now. Because of, bank robbers and that." He said, "Fucking get in here and go." So, what I see, incredible. Right below Liverpool, can't tell you where it is. When we went down, this fella, one Sunday it was. Well, it was a weekday, and I had this group of people. I think my students it was. And he said to me, "Here," he was just standing in the doorway. I said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "Frank," I was further up there, and he shouted me back. I said, "Yeah." He said, "You are Frank, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, Frank," he said, "if you come down on Sunday, I'll show you something." And I said, "You're not a pervert, are you?" And he just started laughing. He said, "Do you want to see something?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "But you can't bring anyone." I said, "Can I bring our kid?" He said, "Yeah." I asked our kid to go, he wouldn't go. said, I know, I've got to do the dinner or something, you know. So I went down, and what I seen, I wish I could tell you where it is. But anyway, I went down. He said, yeah, come in. Went along, went through this door, went right to the back, went down another flight of stairs through another door, along a corridor, another door that went right down. Not that deep. Down steps. So anyway, he gets down, then he opened this other door. Fucking door, that thick it was. That thick. He said, yeah, look at this. And he I forget, I don't know whether he was using an arc light or he switched the light on. And I went like that, I said, and I looked. And what I seen was a part of an old Tudor, you know, but it was just like the first floor of a thing, a building, a Tudor building. You could tell by the windows. And a barrel that was just tipped over, well rotted. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I said, it's the only way I can fill it. He said, oh, no. He said, it's more than my job's worth. I said, thank you. Thank you so much for showing me this. Shook his hand. And I never bothered him again. I wasn't, listen, you know, it wasn't any of that. So it was made up. And, you know, thank that gentleman for something that I never, ever thought I'd be able to see. And the two surveyors who called me as well and said, yeah, we're going to show you something. Come back at 4 o'clock. And I went back at 4 o'clock. What they showed me was incredible. So I've seen things beneath this city that's exceptional. And I'm talking not just like my city of Liverpool, but any city throughout the country. Incredible. We'll get on to Liverpool, old scene. I think you'd like it. And Phil, another good show, Frank and chat. Thank you. Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you, mate. Thank you. And Pax says, take care. Sorry there, Toscana. Take care, Bella, from Toscana. And Pax says, there's a new amateur historian on Facebook called, I don't go on Facebook, unfortunately, called Jade Murphy. She visits all the old churches and other places of historical interest. She dresses up for their show. Okay, amateur. No disrespect to the girl, you know. Amateur. I'll tell you what it's like, Pac. You're a photographer, and a good one, actually. And it's someone who's, who's been taking photographs of his baby daughter or whatever. And, going to school. Click. And then all of a sudden, going to the down the Chinese Arch and taking a photograph. How would you feel? That was my profession. My profession. And anything amateur, fine, but I've listened to them. And I've mentioned it loads of times. loads of times about these people who fucking look at and believe in things that have been said, and I'm talking about myths about Liverpool and certain things about Liverpool. And they believe it. And they're telling people from outside, outside Liverpool, people who don't know, you just visit Liverpool. And this is like where we get a reputation from people like that. No disrespect to the girl, she might be great, I don't know. But that was my profession. I studied for 11 years. 11 years for my qualifications, or what I've got. I've got names at the back on the side of my name that you couldn't even put on an envelope, fall off the edge. Anyway, no disrespect to the girl. Good luck to her. Pack. I dress up for my shows as well. Wear a shirt. With glasses. Toscana. Grazie, Franco. Chat. Another great evening. Oh, get better. Toscana. If you're out of Aussie tomorrow, they're going to say if they're going to fix you up or whatever. Let us know how you get on, please. There are too many of us now. It's like the Scottish bear. It was seriously ill. It's like the red bird, I'd love the red bird to make a comeback, but we just don't know anymore. You're good people, every single one of you. So I've got the football show tomorrow, and just let us know, please, how you got on at the Aussie. Okay. Thanks very much for keeping me company tonight. Great comments. Great comments as usual. Hope you've enjoyed it. And don't forget, try and have a look at your subscriptions as well, because YouTube takes subscriptions off, So you've got to subscribe again. Be great if you could. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope. Well, some of you. Football show. 7 o'clock as usual. Good night, everybody. Good night.